Okay, boys, we are on the last episode of this tutorial. We made it that far. Now it's time to actually close things up. In terms of code, then we have to do the hosting, of course. But right now, we are going to make sure that as soon as one of our person we follow goes online or offline, we are aware of that information. So we're going to send an update to all the people who follow us. Simple stuff today. Actually, not so simple. But it's all things we've done in the past, so it's simple in that terms. We're going to start by creating a new message. We're going to have a message that will contain the user we're following and all his new updated information. So under my net message, I'm jumping straight into it like, yeah. Friend update or follow update. Or update follow maybe? Really up to you at this point. We'll be opening up this message. Of course, when we create a new message, we'll need a new net operation code. And yeah, in here, we're going to have the simple account like this. So it's going to look very, very similar to this code over here. I'm just going to grab this one, put it here. And of course, follow update here, here, here. And we remove the success. So when somebody we follow gets updated, we're going to take all his information again. So username, discriminator, status, most important one, and that's it. Let's go under the net operation code, add this new one. That's the final message. Aren't you hyped about that? We're almost done, boys and girls. Mostly boys, according to analytics. Yeah, okay, we got our message. Now it's time to send it. Now, who's sending that message? Not the client. Because the client, if he goes offline, then he can't send any message, he's disconnected. The server will be the one that sends this message, and it will send it on its own. Like, we don't need any feedback from the client, we don't need any input from the client. Well, we need one, right? When he logs in, we need to send that over to the server, and then he's going to propagate that information. But when he logs out, that's something that is already being treated on the server itself. So, we got our new message. We just need to make sure we send it to the right people, and we send it once we log in and also once we log out, or disconnect in this case. Okay, so actually here's the thing we have to do. In our disconnection event over here in the server.cs, we're going to have to add the code to propagate information about us disconnecting. We're not going to be doing it here in the connection. We also have to do it when we connect, but that's not the connection we're thinking about. That's when the person, any user, connects to the master server. Well, they're not authenticated just yet, so it's like just anybody who opens a new tab with your game in it, that's the connection event. He doesn't have any identity in your game as long as he's not connected. So we have to hook in something here. So here we have to hook in something on the login request if it's successful. So over here, if it's successful, we have to do it here as well. And what else do we have to do? We have one more thing to do that I had in mind a second ago. Oh yeah, we have to update the status of somebody who disconnects. We haven't done that yet, so it's again over here. Now, it's going to be a big chunk of code, so I'll be creating a function here that will redirect us a little bit further down. So let me just call that disconnect event. And what shall we send? Receiving host ID. Since we're treating with both standalone and also WebGL, connection ID, we're going to need, what else? There's no message being sent here because it's a disconnection event. All you really need is these two things, I believe. I might be wrong, let me have a look. Yeah, it's the only two things I've been using, so let me grab that. We're going to create that function a little bit below. It's going to be on data, in the on data section, but at the top. Because it's basically just like a message we would send ourselves, however, this one's being sent directly from the system. And then connection ID. Okay, cool. Right. Why did I put my int here? Okay, never mind that. Connection ID here. We're calling that function. I'll also grab this one. And I'll put it here. So we free up some space in the big onData function. Cool. So our connection ID is called CNN ID over here. Right. We're gonna start here. We're gonna have a look if the user is connected right now. If he is connected, let's make sure we remove his status, his token, and his connection ID. Now once we're done with that, well, if he was connected, we're also going to send everybody who follows him a message saying that, yo, he's offline now. Alright. Now as I mentioned, the connection event, disconnection event, by themselves doesn't mean that the person is connected to your game. It only means that they're connected to the master server. Which means that we're going to get some disconnection event that will be called even though the person has not input any login information and has not successfully authenticated. So we have to make sure that there's actually someone connected there first. So get a reference to the connected account. That could work, I guess. And we're going to do a find account by nothing. We don't have that. It's a find account by connection ID. There we go. CNN ID. Of course, we don't have that, so we're gonna have to create a new overload under database again. We're gonna have a lot of overload for this simple thing, but they all work and they're all unique, by the way. Let's have a look here. Public model account. Find. Yeah, thanks God. I put it in my clipboard all the time. Int connection ID. What do we do in here? We do the exact same thing as we've been doing with all the other functions. A one-liner that simply looks for the active connection in this case and the connection ID. There we go. Good. We got what we need. Let's head back to server.cs and proceed with this. Now at this point we have a model account, but it might be null, which means nobody was connected with this connection ID. So if account is not equal to null, then we're going to proceed, else, well, return, right? I don't think we need an else statement here. We're just going to put return by itself. Now this account might be null in case the person was not connected, as we've mentioned. So if account is equal to null, let's just return. We don't go any further. If somebody disconnects, there's nothing to change in database in case he wasn't authenticated. So we're just making sure he was indeed authenticated. I'm getting better English every day. That's great. I'm gonna make more videos and become an English major. Okay, so at this point the person have to be authenticated, so their status has to be at least 1 or higher if using that as a byte flag. Then they also have a token and a connection ID. Let's make sure we get rid of all of that. We don't want to have any of those sitting in database once the person is offline. So, database, update, account, after disconnection. So disconnection. What do we have in terms of information? At this point, we have a lot of information. We have a model account. So if we go under account, you'll see there's a token, which I don't think we're going to be using. Active connection, we could be using this one. Email, you just choose, really. You choose whichever you want in this case. I'm not going to use active connection because I'm scared of one thing which doesn't make sense, but just assume that at the same time we disconnect, somebody logs in on a different thread and we're doing multi-threading. He might take that active connection ID, he might steal that. In fact, what I'm saying doesn't make any sense, but we're gonna try something else and actually find him by email. Well, we're not finding anything by email, we're just turning off a couple of fields. So I've called the function update account after disconnection, which is, I think, quite explicit. Nobody should ask me what this function does if they look at my code. And we're gonna put that in the update function. Here it is. We said we're gonna be taking in the email because the email is unique, so might as well do that. Alright, now it's time to actually update. Okay, now it's time to actually update the account, and the only other place I believe we didn't update is down here once we log in, basically. So account update. We're gonna need first a query to find it. We know how to do a good query here. I mean, we're able to do a query quite easily if we just steal, say, the fetch query. So we can say var query is equal to, then we'll do query on model account where a.email is equal to the parameter we send. At this point we have a query. I don't want to do a find one on this because we need the query to update as we've seen in the login account. Yeah, down here. Right, Let's see, we also need to have a reference to that account. Okay, so we are going to do a find one. I lied once more. Account is going to be equal to accounts, the collection, find one, with the query. Good, so now we have the query, the account, we need both of them once we do our update. Let me grab this line of code. I'm going to copy it down here. I'm liking this, I don't even have to look at my code on the left side, I just remember stuff now. Been doing it so much, 3 times, 3 times in fact. Cool, so we're going to take our account, update it, and yeah, right. Account.token, let's put that on null. I don't want to see a token in there, like, not at all. Oh, by the way, when I'm doing this, it's very important you're doing null and you're not doing this. If you're doing this, then anybody who tries to like do something on behalf of a user with nothing in it will be able to do it. That's an actual string, so make sure you put it on null. Don't make the same mistake as I've done in the past. Right, we want to kill the active connection as well, back to 0. If we put it on 0, the game is going to, like, nobody is ever 0. When you start, the first user that connects is actually 1, it's not 0. Then let's see. There was one more thing that I had to kill. What was it? The status, of course. Put that on 0 as well. Right. I believe we got all we need for Disconnection now. And before I go and I code the part where we send information about our user, we're going to test this out really quickly. I'm going to open up MLab in the other tab, and I've also started my server over here, so let's have a look at what is going on. I will be logging in using my favorite user, 111111. And let's have a look. So I'm under MLab, and here I just logged in using the account 1111. Here it is. Status is 1. Getting tired of saying that. And I'm going to refresh after killing the application. Okay, so active connection is still equal to 1, status still equal to 1. Definitely something that didn't work there. Let's have a look at what happened. Alright, so I've just tested it again without changing anything else. And now it's back to 0. Token is null, status is to 0. I guess it just didn't save properly. The only thing I've changed is I've added debug.log just to see it was being called, so it works. Which means that if I connect on the account 2, which I've just did right now, and I disconnect, if I log in again on account 1, which is the account that follows account 2, then I will not be able to see it online. Well, I'm going to see a gray thing, so yeah, here it is. We managed to turn off the active connection that I had over here on this one. If I reset, you're going to see active connection 0, token null, status 0. Amazing. Good. So we've done the first part. Second part is to send information to our user. Third part is to send information to the people who are following us. We're going to need a new call inside of the MongoDB because we're never really getting that information out. What I mean by that is that the people that follow us, we never have a list of that. We have find all follow by user, but we gotta find all follow from. Is that going to? You know what? This is going to be quite confusing if you're following the tutorial from an earlier stage. But find all follow from, and I'll just put a note here. Used to be find all follow by. My mistake. Okay. So it's now find all follow from, and if I actually compile my code, I'm going to see where it crashes because of course this isn't what we've called in the past. Here it is. Double click on that, boom, change. I should be using an add-on to change that, but if I'm actually recording stuff, I want to do it there manually, so you don't see me do secret keybinds and then the code doesn't work somewhere else. Let's see. Good. Now that it's a little bit clearer in my head at least, I am going to go create a find all follow from. Public list of account. It's exactly the same function actually, but you're just swapping two things around. Should we find by token? We could be finding by email again. That would work. Just note that we're never leaving the server, so all the information we're sending across like that is never going to be anything sensitive. So we could be playing with the account, the password, all that kind of stuff, though I would not recommend, but you know, the email is never leaving. So let me copy this whole thing over here, and what we'll be doing is we're going to be having a look at this and swapping it around. So find account by token, well, that's now find account by email. That's my email. We're grabbing a reference to our self. So we're getting self, that's the person who is going to disconnect or connect. We're going to find him by email. And then inside of the query, we're not looking for the sender this time. We're looking for the follow or the target. Yep, that's how we called it. Yeah, so everybody who's targeting myself. So when I disconnect, those people will be the one I want in my query. And then finally, in our for each, we are not going to do, well, this is fine, but we're not going to be finding the target.id. We need to find the sender. Now we have to find the people who sent those requests initially. And just like that, we swap our function around to find the other person. So follow by, the real by this time. Okay, let's grab this, and we're going to be putting it at our two places, which, let's see, wherever we wrote here twice. So one was in disconnect, and also the other one was in login request. Okay, so let's start writing down this function up here in disconnect first. So here we're going to prepare and send our update message. So prepare and send our update message. Now, something I've just realized that I was doing a little bit earlier. So if you guys have a look at the code I had earlier, this was it right here. Don't copy that. I've created a new message. I have gotten the account, but that's the old account over here. Then put his status on 0. The reason I was doing that is because the reference to account we have here at the top is old, because we're updating it after. So what I did is then I manually set things off over here, and I kind of think it's not the best way to go about doing this, simply because if at one point you decide to add more field, then you're not going to come back here and say, okay, well, new field is equal to disconnected or something like that. Instead, what I'll do is I'll do another find, so like an updated account over here, so model account, updated account, and we'll do a find or a db.find account by email. We can use the old account.email, it's the same one, that's not going to change, and then send that one over. Of course, when we send it over, we're going to do a get account, so we get like a dumbed down version of it. I could either do it this way, or I could have a return value in here. I don't really see, like, I don't mind both options, to be honest, so I'm simply going to go with this one since I already wrote it. So prepare and send our message. That message, follow update, fu. Nice, amazing. Fu dot follow is the updated account in this case. Updated account dot get account. Do we need anything else? Nope, so the rest is normal stuff, the operation code. Now we just need to find who are the person targeted by this update and send that information back to them. So we'll do a for each for every followee in db.find followed by, then we'll find it by email again, so account.email. Then we're going to do something about it here, so we're going to be sending mass messages. However, we don't want to be sending messages to somebody who's offline, so we have to verify first if f active connection is equal to 0 is going to mean that the person is not connected. We set that on 0 once he disconnects. We could also be looking at the status, so if the status is on 0, of course don't send him that. We could be looking at the token, if the token is null, but that's not something we want to play around with. But yeah, if it's on 0, just hit continue. We're gonna have to look for other people, basically, that have followed this person. And let's see. Once we're done, we send that to the client. Receiving host ID is the platform we'll be sending it through. That is always assuming that your friends are using the same platform as you. That is, of course, a really bad limitation that we get through in the second tutorial. And then finally our message right here, fu. Good, that's our message. Let's send that fu message over. That's our code. So that's our code. With this, we should now be able to update our friends on the other end of the world. Okay, let's grab all of this and copy that over in our login event, because it's the same exact thing basically. So I've grabbed this in my clipboard. I will now go down in the here section. We create a new message, that's correct. We have the updated account. Okay, so we have the updated account. At this point, it has been modified because we modify it in the login account here at the top. So it has been modified, it has a new status, it has a new connection ID, it has all of that, and therefore we got all we need from doing a find account by email. Am I finding the right account right now? Yep, I am. And in fact, since this one already returns the updated information, we're not going to need to have an updated account. We can simply send it like that. So let me kill this, grab account, and say account get account. At this point, this remains the same, and we just send our information. And it's quite windy in my house, apparently. Sorry about that. Okay, so our information should be sent over. Our update should be done. However, we never really treat it on the other end, so we really never do anything with that information on the client side. So we've done one more part, and the final one is to come in a moment. So let's go ahead, open up the client scene, or client.cs, and code the very last piece of code we'll code together for this tutorial. Shit. Alright, so it opened exactly where I want it to be, in the on data. We're going to create our new case. New case is going to be follow update. Let's break it, and follow update with the cast message. So net follow update, there it is. Here we go. That's our final function, guys, in this client.cs. I'm saying that, but we might as well run into a bug, and that's not going to be the last one. Who knows? I'm super optimistic. So follow update, that's the FU thing, right? And what do we do here? We call our big friend the hub scene. Let's call him hub scene instance update friend update follow. That's a follow. And let's just send it fu.follow. Good. New function doesn't exist yet, so let's take it. Hub scene. We're gonna put that in the same line as add follow to UI. So public void update follow. Account follow. What are we doing here? Well, we gotta find our friend in the UI and then change his round color. But we don't have a reference to that. We don't even know which one is which. So we could actually do you can actually like take all the text mesh pro UGUI and then look at the text and look for a condition where the username meets that. But you know what? Let's do it a little bit cleaner. Not that it's the cleanest version that I'll do here, but I'm going to declare a dictionary, and that dictionary is going to contain dictionary, and this will contain our key and a game object as a value. So that key is going to be username discriminator, and then the value is going to be a game object. So I call it UI follows because it's really just for the UI. And I'll instantiate it right there, right on the spot, so I don't have to do it in the start. Right, so when we add someone to the UI, at the end over here, I'm going to say UI follow, add, the key is going to be, I have it over here, so follow.username plus pound sign, that's my key, guys, follow.discriminator. Hopefully you can come up with different ways to go about this, but I'm quite okay with this because it's such a small application. So we add that. We add the follow item, so now we have a reference to this game object using the username and also discriminator. Having that out of the way, let's end this with something quite cool, like a one-liner that's going to end it all. Oh wait! Before we do something that cool, we're going to remove it from our dictionary if we click on the remove. So, assuming we click on the remove, we're going to do UI follow remove username plus pound sign plus discriminator. I really think that I should have created some kind of utility function that just makes those together so it looks a little bit better. But okay, yeah, let's end it all with one liner. Let's do it in one big line. So UI follow, we're gonna open up our dictionary. We need to find our reference at this point. So that's our reference. Actually, you know what? Follow dot username is that, and then discriminator, same thing here. So follow dot discriminator. Okay, at this point we have our reference. When we want to get the object, the image, that's what we did. Dot transform get child image, and we also wanted to set the color. So let's do. I'll write it down for dramatic effect. Get child index 1 get component type of image. Am I in the way? I might be in the way. Let me just zoom in on that and scroll there. Next up, color. We're trying to get the color out of this. Oh wait, forgot our set of parentheses. Color, and that color is going to be equal to, remember, we have the follow guy over here, so we know his status. Therefore, we're going to test that in a ternary operation, just to make this a little bit longer. We're going to be looking at his status. If the status is equal to 0, that will mean, well, basically I have the code over here, so I'll just take that. Oh, it's not equal to 0. If it's not equal to 0, he's online, so green or gray. That is our one-liner to end it all. It's actually not that bad. I've did that in my code a couple of places, I must admit. But I'm also coding on my own most of the time, so people don't really give a crap about what I do. The only exception is when I code on YouTube. Right. So let's try this out, guys. I am going to go fresh, deleting all the accounts, deleting all the friendships. None of that exists anymore, and for dramatic effect, let's put that on maximize on play. Full screen this thing. The server is started in the background. Username ABCD, password ABCD. At Africa, save the children. I don't know if it's a .net or a .com. Anyway, save the children. Okay, we have created an account. Let's create a new account for our best friend, this guy, and let's log in any of those. I don't remember what the password was. ABCD. So we're logged in. Let's add our friend through his email, because we're doing it a little bit different this time. Adding him. He's not online. What a shame. That's just so shameful. I forgot to actually start a new instance of this. Well, at least we know we didn't crash anything that worked before. I'm gonna go build a web instance, see if that also works on the web. So I'll be back in a second. Actually, in maybe 5 minutes. That's what it takes to build. I'll be back. Alright, we have returned with a build over here. I just started my server. I am going to have to reset this connection here. So I also thought about another problem that we're going to have, just a small typo basically. So we are going to get a crash. However, I just want to see if I'm able to connect with this, and if everything is good, let's just connect with ABCD at 000. Yep, ABCD is my password. Submit. And we're connected with WebGL. Okay. Now on this other side, I will be connecting with another account and see if we get any problem. So it says, oh, errors occurred using well, actually errors occurred in Unity. Now I actually know what the problem is. It's a stupid typo. So if we head over to the server, we have two spots in which we have to change just one little parameters over here. So at the place we wrote here, so at the place where we're sending our friend update or follow update, actually the FU message, what I'm doing here is I'm actually looking through all the friends. I'm looking if they're online. If they are, I am sending a message to myself, the connection ID. So yeah, that's the issue. You want to be sending it to f.activeConnection instead. And yeah, stupid mistake. So I also have to do it in the login request, which I believe is somewhere here. So login request down there. f.activeConnection FU. Good. So I'm gonna have to build this again. Yay me. Make sure you save everything before you do go with the build process once more. And I will be back in maybe 5 minutes this time, not 5 hours. Alright, so we got a new build running after our fix, and let's see if that makes it so everything works. Okay, so we see that 11111 is not online. Now if I go here, login, he is online, and I also added the friend so I can see it in both sides. let's disconnect this one. And he went offline. That's it. We're done. We've completed the thing. Now, the only thing left to do is the hosting. Hosting is going to be a whole new story, and I think I'll do 2 videos. One of them is going to be to host on Windows. It's going to be quite simple. You just make your build and run it. It's still going to have to open port and do that kind of stuff. And the other one's going to be on Linux. But don't expect those videos to come out tomorrow or the day after. It might take a little bit more time to do those, as I have some other project in the pipeline. And I'm also working on the second part of this tutorial, which is going to be a lot bigger. But it's also going to be a lot, and that's going to be a lot bigger, but also a lot more fun. And you know, that's a game. This is not a game. This is an application. But we're going to be using this with some slight modification. And there's a lot of things that are going to change in the second part, even in this one. So the way we actually look at our message, the way we register them, the way everything is clamped up in client.cs, I don't like that. We have a different way of working around that in the second part of the application. We use the event-based message system. So if you receive like the follow update, if somebody you follow have an update to it, we can register to that message with any system in our game and actually receive that message and receive the information inside of it. So it's a lot different, and client.cs will not get cumbersome. Server.cs will not get cumbersome. Instead, what you'll have is you'll just have a bunch of system that registers to one specific message, and they receive an update on it. So there's that. There's also the fact that we're going to be dropping the binary formatter because it gives some problem with WebGL. And I'd rather be able to write my own bytes, like my own message byte by byte, so we know exactly in which order we read things and also in which order we write them, which is much more efficient. And we're dropping all the overhead that comes with binary formatter as well. Having that said, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something with this whole series that we've made. Multiplayer content is quite scarce out there, especially for Unity for some reason. Maybe, I don't think it's the best. I'm saying that now once we're done. I don't think it's the best way to go about creating a large-scale multiplayer game yet. I think it's going to get a lot better in the future, of course. But it's definitely the best way to learn and to host your smaller scale game. Yeah. That's it. Once more, if you enjoyed this, if you enjoy all the information I provide to you during this tutorial, please leave a like. You should subscribe for the second part, or at least information on the second part coming out soon. And also those hosting video. What else? Yeah, join Discord. And also, if you have any problem during the series, I hope that you join, and I hope that you ask. I feel like a lot of people are going to have problem with WebGL, but yeah, that's something else. As for myself, I am quite happy I'm done recording this for the second time. And I shall now go and work on the second part of the tutorial, and also those hosting video when I have the time and when I feel like it. Yeah, thank you so much. I'll see you on Discord and in the comment section down below. Cheers.